Hi everybody, and a very warm welcome. My name is Neil Pryor. I also go by the name of NVP on most Forex and trading sites. And welcome to this weekend. It's Saturday the 12th of October 2019. And I just wanted to give everybody an update as to where I am, what I'm doing at the moment, as I've been a little off the trading radar over the last few weeks. For those of you that don't know me, I have been trading since the 1980s. I've been trading Forex since the early 2000s. And actually I've been gambling since I was a kid. Looking at my homepage website here, FXCorrelator.com, which is the name of my indicator that I offer for free. It just gives you a bit of a rundown as to who I am. And if you actually go through some of these areas, you can really get an insight as to what I do. Also got a big blog there where I blog as many times as I can, mainly daily. And also I just wanted to introduce the FXCorrelator page here, which is where I talk about my free indicator and I offer it. There you go, PDF there, a video on my YouTube channel, and then a very simple strategy at the bottom there, again, that you can literally load it and start operating a very simple trading system using Forex strength meters. The FXCorrelator is a Forex strength meter, measures the relative strength of the different currencies at any time and any place. On this site and also at my forums at Trade to Win, which I'll just show you now, I've been speaking for many years and giving people advice. I think I'm up to page 1500 on this particular thread, which is called Correlation Trading, and I've had over 2.5 million views on this thread over the last, I think it's 10 years now. I've been talking, in fact, yeah, August 26, 2009, it's about 10 years now, just over 10 years I've been on this, and I was in and around since the early 2000s. I developed my strategy, my core strategy, back in the early 2000s with the help of some very good programmers and quant traders. And I've been using variations ever since. I've built hundreds of variations working with various traders in the industry. And I give as much time as I can to mentoring and helping people. But go here, obviously go back to my site I just spoke about. And as I mentioned, there's an FXCorrelator channel, which is on YouTube. Not that many subscribers. But again, I'm not going for huge amounts of quantity, guys. I post, rarely now. I don't post as much as I can. This video will go on here. But again, if you look on there, I think you go back quite a few years, you can see what I was up to and where I was certain weeks, how I was trading. And hopefully it gives people a real insight into what I do. If you are wondering what I've been up to the last few weeks, and indeed months actually, because I haven't been as online as I usually am in terms of talking about Forex trading. I have actually been Forex trading most days, but generally just trading, not really consulting, not really mentoring, and not being out there live trading for people as I do when I'm not working. I've actually been building up a consulting business that people, again, if you know me, you'll be aware of. And this consulting business is generally around what they call finance business partnering. I've been a finance business partner and accountant for nearly 35, 40 years. And I've also been doing a lot of work with startups, innovation. I work a lot with Blue Ocean Strategy, if anyone's ever heard of that, which is quite useful actually in the Forex industry as well. I use that a lot. And just general finance, business strategy, marketing strategy, and accounting. So quite a lot of things that I'm involved with. And I do that alongside my Forex trading. The reason being, I'm always looking for multiple streams of income. And I encourage everybody I talk to when I'm mentoring Forex, and people ask me, Neil, how are you doing this? Are you working? Are you just trading full time? And my answer always is that, I've generally always worked. I've always had core revenue streams from either employment or from consulting or from contracting, which I'm doing at the moment again. And I've always loaded my Forex trading and training in alongside that. Always trying to create multiple streams of income. I still do. And I do okay. Not a problem. It also keeps you sharp. I find that if I tend to spend too much time trading, which I have done last couple of years in between certain consulting roles and contracting, I sometimes have found myself scalping which is generally what I do because I can get a better return on that. I find myself scalping 6-8 hours a day. I can't do that for too long. It drives me mad. I'm successful at it, but it drives you insane. And if anybody out there has tried scalping seriously and professionally, then you'll know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. It's hard work. It's interesting, but it can drive you mad. So again, I like to have a nice variation there. So this is what I've been building. This is what I've been into the last 2 or 3 months, seriously, alongside my trading stuff. Okay, shall we have a look at the week? Yeah, let's get some charts up, and I'll give you a quick rundown what happened this week, what I was doing, how I was trading, when I was trading, and what you should have been doing if you're a serious Forex trader. So let's get some charts up. Okay, guys, we're going to start with a sterling dollar 1 hour chart. And what I'm going to do, I've got my FXCorrelator on a 20 MA setting here. So what you're seeing is, and let me do this, it probably makes it easier. What you're seeing is 8 currencies. Okay, there's 8 currency colors on here. If you follow me, and if you're one of the many thousands that's download my indicator, you do know what I'm talking about, so I'm not going to waste too long. But this is a very basic indicator. What it does, very simply, based on the moving average setting, it will tell you what currencies are strong, what currencies are weak. Anything above the 0 line here will be a strong currency. Anything below will be a weak currency based on a 20 moving average. So that's a 20 moving average. Every currency pair, every one of the 28 currency pairs trending against one another against the 20 moving average gives you this calculation. It's very powerful and very useful, and I've been using it since the early 2000s, still do. I've got thousands of combinations and new derivatives of this, but I still use this on a daily basis. Okay, so this is what was going on this week in the market, commencing the 7th of October. What you can see is actually first few days looks very low in terms of volatility, doesn't it? And when I mean volatility, I mean actually movement around the 0. So I've put a couple of bands here. Can you see how tight this is? This is actually representing pips, and it really isn't that significant in terms of pippage or pip ratios. So the reason this looks so small, when actually it isn't that small, was because of how big the movements were on Thursday and Friday of this week. Mainly driven by sterling, red sterling. Okay, and again, if you've been following the market closely, you'll know what was going on, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Meanwhile, down here, it was mainly driven in terms of weakness. The bear currencies were generally the yellow yen and also Swissy. Swissy was pretty weak as well. The green dollar as well. So, you know, it was very much second half of the week dominated by sterling's bull pullback, bull strength. And early on in the week, again, sterling actually swung the other way. I mean, sterling is my go-to currency at the moment, guys. I've got to say, when I'm looking for volatility, if I'm having a fast session, I've got 2 or 3 hours to kill, I get in there and I scalp, and I'm scalping sterling in pairs, generally cable, but I'll look at the euro against sterling, and if I'm really brave, I might go for one of the more exotic G8 currencies. I might even go against the yen, but again, I'll probably be stepping back doing 1 hour, 4 hour charts for that. But again, just to give you an idea of where we were. So that is what you see. Now what I'm going to bring up is another chart, which unfortunately is not available due to contractual terms. I actually built this with a couple of programmers, and you know, we've agreed between us that we won't be selling this and we won't be offering this for free. So just want to show you something which is probably a little bit more relevant and shows the week a little bit more accurately. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down. So this is based on a fixed start. So if I drag this over, you can see that it's suddenly gone flat. That means that we've zeroized it. If I just drag it back a bit, suddenly it comes to life. So at the start of the week, so this would be an early or late evening on the Sunday night, going into Monday morning opening session, because the session, as you know, from time zone perspective, starts in the Far East on Sunday night. We can see the movement of the currencies. This is actually on a pip basis. So if you look at this, this does show generally the movement of the pips. So for the early part of the week, the first Monday and certainly into most of Tuesday, there wasn't really any particular currency that swung more than 26 to 30 pips in either direction from its 0 start point at the start of the week. That's very low volatility, guys, I have to say. On Tuesday, we got the grey Swissy that swung out more towards 60-70 pips, and that's more like it. And you can see here that actually on Tuesday, sterling really got clobbered, got down to the -100, so it was 100 pip downs by then. So obviously when you're trading sterling here against other currencies, and you were getting well into that session, and this was really London morning session going into US morning, you would have made money pretty much selling sterling against anything. On Wednesday, we had a pretty flat day. Wednesday the 9th. You see how most currencies stay pretty flat. You see how nothing really moved around. Sterling bounced along the bottom. There was obviously a strong support line there, and as you can see, you see here this strong area of support. Just holding here, support, support, support. And as you can see, that went all the way into pretty much Thursday as well. So this is Thursday Asian early London session. Again, you can see it's not going to come under this line. So around the 100, 110 pip mark, it held. That was really interesting for me. In fact, Wednesday, as we got into the back end, late US session into early Asian, or getting towards the Asian session for the Asian markets into Wednesday, absolutely flat. It was about, I don't know, 48 hours, rolling hours, absolute flatness. There's nothing going on. The only thing that was really starting to move here was the yen on Thursday. So during the Asian session into early London on Thursday, yen started to come off. But then we saw here the fact that the news started to come out that there was talk, there was optimism that we might finally, after about 500 years of negotiation, well, it feels like it's more like about 3 years, but there was talk that there may well be a chance that we could get a Brexit deal done before the 31st of October. Europe was talking to our guys, Ireland was getting involved, and people were starting to make good noises. And that was really as it continued on into Friday as well, where we had an absolutely massive swing on sterling. So if you were trading late US session, all through the Asian was fairly flat, but obviously into early London and then beyond, what a great session. Sterling went from about -109, 110 up to +357, so you do the math. Sterling in terms of pip terms, raw pip terms for the sterling index, it swung something like 450 pips, which was pretty incredible. That was a great swing, And that's just sterling on its own. So that doesn't take into account any of the currencies you would have traded it against. And if you look down here, you'll see that the currency that really took the pain, was the yen. So in many ways here, yen was being sold. People were coming into sterling. So just to give you a perspective on that, if we put something on here around when sterling started moving, okay, and what I'm going to do, and I know this is starting to get a little bit messy, I'm going to come up here and find where greenback dollar is. Dollar's in here somewhere. Dollar's virtually around zero. It's been flat for the week. So I'm going to bring this up. So at its height, and then it got better here. So if you talk about going against the greenback, against sterling, 64 to 350, we're talking something around 400 pips. You could have come in earlier, but bear in mind that I'm really looking here at when sterling started moving and the dollar came off. So the swing here is something like, yeah, just looking at this, around 400 pip movement on dollar against sterling. Can you see that? So dollar up about 357, about 64 off of the dollar from where we start the ball rolling, and that is roughly about 400 pips. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag down sterling against dollar. So obviously you can see that that's the same time period. I'm just bringing up, look at the red line where the start is, and you can see, so against the dollar we were at 122.80 coming into, I mean, it was fairly early, so it's probably around I don't know, 9, 10, probably 10 o'clock US time, 10 o'clock open. Massive push here. Went from 22.80 up to 26.84, 400 pips. Yep, you get that, 22.80, 400 pips at its height. Just reflecting this movement. See that? So sterling went flying up very quickly and US dollar came off. Now actually there was more pips on yen. So if you obviously looked sterling against the JPY, you can see that there was probably an extra couple of hundred pips on that. So that was probably more like a 600 pip move. But you know, I wasn't trading that. I have to admit, when I was scalping cable, which is what this market is. But it shows you how useful this is. And equally, just to make this even more confusing, sorry guys, let's go back to the standard FX correlator here. And you can see, I mean, even with the FX correlator, you know, and you're looking for significant movements and chasing those, just look what sterling did. It came out of the box, fell away just out of interest. Can you see how this is not actually a reduction in the actual physical price line of sterling currency? It was more around the reduction in the moving average. The moving average was coming off. This is why you have to be very careful when you're trading the moving average on the FX correlator. That doesn't necessarily mean the price is falling of sterling. It means that it's coming off and coming back towards its moving average. As you can see, it didn't fall that much. But here you can see again, chasing back up again, chasing back up again. So there's some great opportunities to buy on Friday especially. Just moving into more detail on Friday session, I have to say I didn't do much on the Thursday evening. I was tied up. But later on Friday, coming into relatively early US session, I must admit I was active. I was active during this period on much lower time frames, and then really no, sorry, that's Thursday night. I was active Thursday night, then into Friday again, you know, relatively quiet. This is obviously through the night Asian session, and again Friday morning I was quite active, seeing what was going on the London morning session, which was here, and then she died off. So I had two good sessions back end of the week, and I won't go into that here. What I was doing, that was much more on the scalp side. But as you can see, these indexes, they make it very clear the kind of currencies that you need to be involved with. You've got to be looking at sterling all through this period to buy. Down here there was 2 or 3 combinations, but again, you know, unless you had any particular favourites, the weakest currencies were the Swissy and the yen certainly didn't disappoint, did it? And neither did Swissy. Swissy still came off. I mean, as long as you're going with the bullish power of sterling, you're doing well. Okay, I've talked enough for today. We're nearly 17-18 minutes into this. Didn't want to take too long. You know where I am. I'm at FXCorrelator.com if you want to talk to me. I'm here on YouTube and very much here on Trade to Win, another big trading forum. I'm also at Forex Factory. If people know Forex Factory, it's great Forex site. A lot of stuff there, good calendar there, various things. But I'm there as MVP, and again, FX Correlator, the scalping system. That was started back in 2010, so about 9 years there as well. So I'm also there as well. If you want to talk to me, just pop into the thread and just say hello to me or ask me help, advice. I'm quite happy to talk to people. I am very busy on other things at the moment, but I love talking trading. I love talking Forex. So I'll always be happy to respond to you. Send me emails, whatever you want to do. Just catch up with me. If you want to talk to me, I'm fxcorrelator@gmail.com or PM me on any of those threads, forums. Okay, guys, have a great week next week. It's going to be exciting. I'm sure sterling is going to be just as lively as it's been this week. Personally, I think we might come off a bit, but that's just me being provocative. We'll have to see, but it will certainly be volatile and worth trading. So have a great week, and then we'll talk next week. Cheers, guys. Bye.